Hello and welcome. This is the 5th episode of the Lazy Knitter podcast. My name is Renee and I am the host of this podcast. I'm in a different setting once again. I'm up in my room today. The lighting in my dad's office wasn't great. It's rainy outside, so I figured I'd try here. My room is really messy, so I hope you can't see the ginormous sea of stuff surrounding me because that is not what I intended. You might be seeing a box over here. That's my box with all my stuff for today's episode. Oops. I pulled the microphone there, but I think the camera is still going. This is my box of stuff for today. I'll put it over here actually, because I think that might be better. My name is Renee. You can find me on Instagram as Renee_Kies. I'm saying underscore this time. I said low bar up until now. I'm never quite sure how you call the low stripe that you can put between two words. I think underscore sounds better than low bar, so I'm going with that today. I'm on Ravelry as Alazybeauty, and I also have some knitting patterns and a crochet pattern, 2 crochet patterns actually, forgetting one, up on Ravelry, and you can find those by either searching Renee Kies in the pattern search, and it should direct you to my pattern page, or by going to my profile on Ravelry, Alazybeauty. And there will be a link on the right hand side of the page to my designs. About the schedule. I am recording on a Friday. It's the 17th of June today. I usually try and record, usually it's the 5th episode and it's gone right once. I try and record on Thursday, and then I figured I would upload every Friday. Somehow, ever since I said I would record on Thursday, Thursday has become the day that recording is not optimal. Somehow, if anything goes wrong in a week, it's on Thursday. So I'm thinking I should do something with the schedule. I really like uploading on Friday because it's the beginning of the weekend and people have time to watch the podcast. But if I record on Thursday and something goes wrong and I have to upload on Friday, that's a really short window. So I think I'm going to allow myself to either record on Wednesday or Thursday. That will give me one day of extra space. So if I'm feeling great, I'll record on Wednesday. If I'm not feeling so great on Wednesday, I'll record on Thursday. So I have 2 days, 2 chances to get it right for the upload on Friday. And I think that will also make me feel less bad if I have to delay. And if I have to delay, you guys won't notice because the upload will still happen at the same time. And that is something I would really like to have happen. This week I have no vlogs, once again, no snippets. I didn't really do anything. I just sat home, binged on Netflix and knit. And that led to some unforeseen consequences, but I'll talk about that when I get to the project that caused them. But, yeah, no snippets this week. No, that was last week. Never mind, I didn't really do anything interesting. I am going into town tomorrow, and that might be vloggable, but I'm not sure if I've got the guts to ask if I can. One of my local yarn stores has severe water damage. It's been very rainy here, and apparently something has gone wrong, and they have a lot of damage. And it's really sad because they just moved into that store location 2, 3, 4 months ago, something like that. They haven't been there very long, and everything was finally finished. And now they have damages and have to close until September 1st. Tomorrow's the last day they're open, so I think I'm going to swing by and see if I need to rescue any yarn. I really like that store, so I want to make sure to give them some of my money. So I think it's helpful for them because they don't have to store the yarn. I get nice yarn, they get some more money. Sounds like a good trade. And I'm thinking if I feel good and if I feel daring, and I might ask if I can vlog the store of my shopping. But on the other hand, I'm not sure if I want to do that because the store does have damages. I'm not sure where the damages are. I'm not sure if they're in the actual store or in the living department or something behind the scenes. I don't know. But I'm not sure if I want to bother them with something like that right now, and I'm not sure they'd like being filmed when the store isn't at its best. So actually thinking about it right now and talking it through, I don't think I'll be asking that, but I can vlog my purchases or something from my shopping trip. maybe. I'll see if I have something fun to show you. I'll film it, and otherwise that'll be another week with no vlogs. I am going home to my apartment next week, but I think that's after the next episode, so you'll hear about that next time. Last week I also mentioned that I was thinking of doing some of my own dishcloth designs, because there aren't a lot of fingering weight dishcloth patterns out there, and I couldn't find exactly what I wanted. And if you pick a pattern for a heavier weight yarn, you have to modify everything to suit your yarn and your smaller needle size. And I did. I have 2 patterns that will show you. I have 2 designs done so far that will show you in the finished objects. And the first of them is in testing now. I want to talk a little about the schedule of the testing and when I will be releasing these patterns, because for some reason suddenly a lot of designs that I want to publish, not as part of a collection but can just publish immediately, are done at the same time. I have 2 sock patterns and 2 of the dishcloths done. And one of the sock patterns is in testing, the others I'm going to wait until the first one is out of testing. And for the dishcloths, one of them is in testing now, and I will wait for the other one to go into testing when that one is done. I can't handle having to run too many tests at the same time. It gets me stressed, and I don't want that, because I'm sort of in this for fun. A little money is nice, but I'm not making any money right now with it, so it's mainly for fun, and I do enjoy it. And yeah, I want to space them out a little so that it's not that one week you get 4 patterns and the next 4 months you get nothing, because my designing will slow down a little bit after this again, because I'm good to work on a few secret things. One is a sock pattern for the collection that I talked about last week, and one is something that I'm considering submitting to a third party for publishing, and therefore has to say secret. You can't talk about it, you can't show any pictures, nothing. I can't show you the yarn, but I haven't done anything yet, so that might not be very interesting yet. So I'm gonna try and space them out, unless you guys say, I really want them now, give me these patterns, I love them. Then I can try and hurry a bit more. But I'm thinking right now that I'll space them out a little, maybe 1 or 2 weeks between the dishcloths, and then I'll publish the first sock pattern when it's done testing, and that'll probably be at least a month before the next one. No, I have 3 sock patterns. I said 2. I have 3. I forgot one. I was forgetting about the thistle socks that I showed you last week. Those are finished too. I have the pattern written up, I think. I was about halfway and the word crashed, so I'm not sure how far it's saved. I need to take a look at that, but I couldn't handle it after that. I done the dishcloth, serpentine, and then I was working on the thistle socks when it crashed, and I just felt like, okay, this is a sign you need to stop right now. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and space it out a little, unless you guys really disagree, then let me know and I'll try and hurry a bit more. At least the dishcloths, the socks I'm definitely spacing out. Let's just start with one of those dishcloths. Let me see. This is my first dishcloth design, and it's my favorite. This is, I've called it Jumping Stone, and it's a combination of garter stitch with a seed stitch border, and these little garter blocks separated by garter rows. And the blocks really remind me of those stones in a big river that you use to jump across the river without getting your feet wet. And then the garter reminded me of the river, so I call it Jumping Stones. It's really quite simple. The texture is quite nice, I think. And I knit on 3.0mm needles, which is a US 2.5. The yarn is from a chain store, a Dutch chain store called Action, and the brand, it's the home brand of the Action store. It's called Made by Me, and this is the multi type. It's 100% cotton, and it's really nice. I've talked about it before, so I won't go into too much detail, but I really like the colors in this colorway. This is my favorite. I think this is my favorite of all the dishcloths I've made. The seed stitch border really gives it a very nice, I think I like a seed stitch border better than a garter stitch border. And then for the second dishcloth, same yarn, also 3.0mm needles, let's see which is the top, and which is a US 2.5, same yarn, different colorway, This time a garter stitch border, and I've called it exploding lines because it looks like the lines explode out from this section, I think, and I thought it was a fun title. And up to halfway you have lines that go to the right and then they go to the left. I really like it. It gives a nice texture, it feels very nice, and I think this will be great for scrubbing your face or your counters or anything. Oops, I have it upside down. I like this one too. And that's that for the dishcloths, I think. The one in testing right now is jumping stones. I have room for maybe one more tester. Though I have 3 right now, and if no one else joins, that's fine. This one will go into testing, when did I say? I think the 20th. This one ends the 20th to test for this, and then this one will go into testing like the 21st or 22nd, and then I'll give the testers 5 to 10 days to finish their cloths. Maybe 5, because you don't really need that much time for a simple dishcloth. These are really quick. And yeah, and then I'll get those out to you. Another FO. You've seen these socks before, but this time they're both finished. I hope I'm not sitting too close, actually. No, there. These were unnamed the last time I spoke of them, but they have a name now. At first I was thinking like shades of color or waves of color, shades of color or something like that, but that's a really common name. There's a lot of hits if you search for that on Ravelry, and that will make the pattern very hard to find. So I asked for suggestions on the podcast and said, hey, if you have a good name, let me know, and if I pick your name, I'll choose a pattern from my store and I'll gift it to you. But I had a lovely submission and actually led me to the finished name. The finished name is Blocked Waves. It's not exactly the name that was suggested, but I hadn't thought of using the word waves, and that sort of that was in the suggestion, and that led me to pick this name, so I gifted the pattern. And I'm really happy with how these came out. The waves almost look 3D, I think. I think I can go a little closer, actually. Yes. The waves almost look 3D, and especially after being on the sock blockers for a little bit, it really looks quite nice. And I like that I left the foot simple because that makes them easier to wear, I think. Yeah, there's really not much to say about these. It's a pretty simple design, but I think because I used the bright colors, it really sort of pops, and yeah, I'm happy with them. And I need to choose whether these will go into testing first or the thistle socks. I think I will choose the thistle socks first because those are easiest to write up. And so after Serpentine is done testing, which I think is on the 30th, maybe? No, 27th, I think, something like that. Somewhere around that time the test for Serpentine socks finishes, and then I'll get that out, and as soon as that test is done, I'll get one of the other socks into testing, and then it'll be about a month, I guess, until that's published. And then another month for the other pair of socks. I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself very clearly today. I'm recording a little later than normal. It's after dinner, actually, it's evening. We just had a lovely pasta. And I don't know, it's harder to figure out exactly what to say because I have the idea. I feel like I have a lot of things I want to show you, but not much to say about them, and I don't know. I'm a little confused today. I have another pair of socks I want to show you, and I'm going to pop one on the blockers really quick because it'll look way better on a blocker. And now I threw the blocker away instead of the other sock. Oops. Like I said, confused. Let me get this on. This sock, you might not have seen it. You might have seen it actually. If you were in Sock Madness, these will be familiar. It was one of the bonus patterns for the Sock Madness. The 10th edition was this year. And these are my One Ring socks. They were inspired by the Lord of the Rings. And hang on, I'm taking it off again because I can't really properly show you. If you completed the 5th round of Sock Madness and you still have to wait for the next round, you got this pattern sent to you, and now it's available to everyone that participated in Sock Madness for free. And it's now also been released to the general public, so I thought I'd show it here because I haven't spoken about them yet. These socks are a little different. You start with this band that you cast on provisionally, knit this band, and then join it in a round. and then you pick up stitches around and knit the toe, and then you pick up stitches on the other end and start knitting the foot and the leg toe up. On the leg of the sock, on the back, there's this little ribbing detail that I really like. I thought it added a little extra interest. And on the leg, there's also these cables. There's 1 here, there's 2 here, there's 3 here, and there's 9 here. And this sock has a bit of a story. It's called The One Ring. It's inspired by Lord of the Rings. This is the one ring to rule them all, and these are the other rings that were given in the story, and this one rules them. I have it better explained on the pattern page. There's this lovely poem in the beginning of the first movie and in the books that mentions how many rings each race got, and this sock was meant to symbolize that. And at first I was a little worried about the fit of the ring when I started designing it, that it wouldn't be comfortable in shoes, but I actually wear these quite a lot and they're one of my favorites. So that's that. Next FO. Sort of FO anyway. The blanket is getting huge, and I have to be careful so that, unlike last time, I don't knock down the microphone and the phone. But I did 2 squares this week, not much, but I plan on working on it a little more now that all the socks are off the needles. This is a square from the leftovers of my thistle sock, and I just can't get over this yarn. I really wish I had more, but this was my last skein of this dyer's yarn. The rainbow is perfect. I love the little more muted colours of it. And this is an Opal Advent Calendar Mini. This one looks very Christmassy actually, but I thought the dark would be nice because I had a few lighter squares in this section. That's the blanket. Not much to tell you. I don't really know exactly how many squares I have now. I'm on the 7th row, and each row is 26 blocks wide. I'll count again how many I have at the end of the 7th row. I do a count at the end of every row. And then, yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you anything about the block waves at all. I just showed you to them. These were in 2.5mm needles. That's US 1.5. I mentioned the challenge, but I didn't mention the yarn yet, and I will. The grey is GB Wolle Sprint in 685, which is a bluish grey. Sometimes it looks very dark grey, and sometimes it looks very blue. But I really like the GB Wolle Sprint. I have about 10 more skeins of this, so I'm good, but if they run out, I will get more. The green is Opal for Ladies and Gentlemen Lebendig. The red is Rico Design Superba 100 Classic 4 in 103. The blue, which is a really bright, nice blue, is Online Linie 3 Super Soccer 100 in 61. And the yellow is a Drops Fable, and the color is 111. And then I also forgot to mention one thing about the Molly Weasley blanket. I knit all my squares, almost all my squares, on 2.75mm needles, and some squares that use the mermaid knitting yarn I knit in 2.5mm needles because I underestimated how much yarn I use for each square, and they're just slightly on the light side. And yeah, because I use one size smaller needles, I run out more near to the end of the square, and the difference if I add in a bit of yarn is less noticeable. And I wanted to ask you guys, for the Molly Weasley, I'm not using any. I looked at a bunch of different patterns when I started it, and then sort of mixed and matched and found my own way to do it. And I'm thinking of maybe writing it up on my blog as recipes if you want the blocks to look like mine, because a lot of the blocks don't have that, let me find one, this one's really obvious, that defined spine down the middle, and they use really different sizing. I thought it might be interesting to write it up, just like, hey, here's how I did this. So if you wanted to make the same blanket, you could. But let me know if you would be interested in that at all. Works in progress, that's over here. I'm literally surrounded by yarn and projects everywhere, and it's getting really messy. My first whip, oh no, I pulled out a needle. No! Oh, it was a spare needle, good. No foul. This is the first sock of my vanilla socks, and there's a hair on there. Whoops. I did 25 rounds of the ribbing, and then continued knitting straight until the total work measured 12 inches. Last time I did 11 inches, and I wanted to go a little longer this time. Then I did just a basic toe, and that's the first sock. It still needs a heel, but I'm going to do that when I have both of them at this stage so that I can match them perfectly and make sure they're both in the right spot. So I cast on the second sock. This is where I am. The yarn is a little tangled here. Oh, come on. I'm making it worse. No! Okay, here we go. I finished the ribbing and did a little bit of the foot, and then I put it aside for another project. And that project really bit me in the butt. Let me put this back really quick before everything gets lost, because that's how scattered I am today. Let's just go on to the demon project. Even though I love it, it's a demon. There's no other way to say it. I've shown this once before, and it was really, I had done 2 rows maybe, I think, so there wasn't much to see. This is my fox paws. The pattern is by Zandy Peters on Ravelry. It's a paid pattern. It's really hard, especially the first repeat. You're constantly looking at the pattern and just going, what the hell am I doing? And then once you get the hang of how it all works together, it gets a little easier and it sort of sticks in your brain and you can figure out what you're doing. I have 2 repeats done right now, and it's still hard. There's rows with more than 300 stitches. They're all over 100 stitches actually, but there's rows with more than 300 stitches, like these, where you're stacking all the stitches to make the little paws, and oh my gosh. Those rows literally take hours, and if you mess up your counting, they will take even longer. They are hell. Knitting this, at first it isn't really fun, but then once it starts to show what it will look like, it gets fun. But this pattern is so hard on your hands. I did 4 rows the day before yesterday, and suddenly halfway through one of the last row, my shoulder started to hurt a little bit, and okay, I've been looking down at the pattern too much. I need to relax, end this row and then stop. Well, I did. I ended that row and then stopped, and it really wasn't even the hardest row, but my shoulder was so messed up after that. It still hurts actually. I had to take some painkillers, and I had my mom massage my shoulder, which is a good excuse to get a massage. But yeah, this pattern, take frequent breaks or you will hurt yourself. Take a break every other row, stretch your hands, stretch your shoulders, and after a repeat, put it down. A repeat is 16 rows. The last bit is pretty easy, but the fox paw section, you need to take breaks. You need to take care of yourself and your arms and your hands, because I literally wasn't able to knit yesterday and I hated it. And then I secretly did knit, so my shoulder was worse again this morning instead of completely better. So I'm being good today and only crocheting, I think. I might secretly grab my vanilla sock in a little bit and see how that goes. But even though this pattern is hard and it can hurt, it's so pretty. Look at it. And the yarns I'm using are Artisano Alpaca Silk 4-ply. The beige is fawn, the light blue is robin egg, the light purple is violet blue, and the darker purple is signal blue. It's not really blue, but I definitely call this a purple, but okay. It's super soft, really drapey, and you'll remember I mentioned I did a provisional cast on, and I intend to turn this entire thing into a cowl. I'm just going to knit until I'm out of yarn, and then graft the thing together, and that's that. And bit of a blunt moment, I figured the pattern is written for 5 colors, I only have 4, but I figured, oh, that's okay, they'll still alternate, every other repeat will be different. No, if you only have 4 colors, you have 2 different repeats, so this color sequence that you see now, that will be repeated throughout the entire pattern, but I'm actually okay with that. The only downside to it is that because these in-between sections are more rows in one color. Those two colors might run out a little faster and it might end up a little shorter, but considering how much I have right now and how much yarn I've used, it shouldn't be that bad actually. Another downside of this pattern, all these ends are, oh no. I think I might have to have a little weaving session tomorrow or tonight and just weave these in, because if I don't keep up with it, I'm never going to weave them in. I'll make them a fringe or something. But I really hated this project at first because it's so hard, and if you can't count well, like me, you end up frogging a lot, but I kind of really like it now. After my shoulder started hurting, I really wanted to knit on it. It's silly. I don't know, I think I forgot to mention the pattern is by Zandy Peters. It's really well written and it's really not that hard, but the first time it's just so confusing, especially if you've never done any of these techniques before like me. You don't know what's going on, and later you have a little bit done, you can figure out what you're doing by where you are on the pattern, but this is what it looks like in the picture. I gotta say, I think I like my colors better. That's good, because I'm making that for me. Let's just put that over here. And then I have one more work in progress, and one that you haven't seen in a while. It's in my lovely thimble and thread make project bag that I showed you last week for my shopping. It's huge, it fits everything. I think I might actually trade the bag I'm using for this project and the bag that my Opal Advent Calendar minis are in, because this is a lot bigger and this might actually be able to fit my Molly Weasley blanket. Right now, though, something else is in here. And it's the back of my red rush cardigan. You need to knit 18 inches before you start the armhole decreases, and I'm at 17, so I have 1 more inch to go, and with this fat yarn that is fast. I'm using an acrylic yarn for my deep stash. It's Zeeman Royal. It's really cheap but really nice and soft, and this is going to be my chill on the couch and watch Netflix cardigan, just something oversized and cozy that I can just shrug on over my pajamas. And these cables are really pretty. I don't know if I'm in the frame, I can't really see. These cables are really pretty and I really like them. I'm just thinking, I'm a little worried because it's acrylic and right now it's crunching up a lot. I'm not sure if I need to kill it with my steam iron, or if a bath will just flatten it out enough, because I want it to be oversized. I don't want it to sort of hug around my body. I don't think I'll really mind, but I would prefer it to be oversized because that's what I intended. And but on the other hand, I'm afraid if I steam block it, because in acrylic that is permanent, it might become too drapey and too big. So I'll need to see once it's done, and once I've sewn everything together, how it fits, and then decide what I'll do. And my microphone thread is getting everywhere. What else do I have? Oh, I'm knitting the Woodrush cardigan on 4.5mm needles, which is a US 7, and the Fox Paws is on a 3.5, which is a US 4. That's it for works in progress. It seems like a lot more, but I have a lot of shopping once again, so I have no spinning today. I didn't get to it. I feel like I did a lot this week, but also that I didn't do much this week. With the socks, I really blazed through that second sock. It was done in 2 days or something. And then, did I finish that last week? Yeah, I finished that thistle sock last week. No, on the other hand, I don't feel like I did much. I thought it looked like more. After I finished the blocked wave socks, I was just sort of, meh. I don't want to solely knit on vanilla socks because they'll be done really quickly, and I want them to have them for simple knitting when I'm traveling or when I'm waiting somewhere, or just as a take-along project. It's not my at-home project. And the Molly Weasley isn't always fun because it's big and hefty, and I don't always feel like manhandling that around. and I didn't really know what I wanted to work on, so for 2 days I just stared at Ravelry and knit the occasional row in the vanilla sock and just felt like, I don't know what I want to do. So then I thought, okay, I'll pick up the fox paws and love that, but then I hurt my shoulder. And then yesterday I thought, oh, I'll pick up my Woodrush cardigan because I only did 4 or 5 rows on that since last time, but hey, it counts. And because of the cables and the big yarn, and which I'm not used to, my shoulder started acting up again, so I thought, okay, better just put it away and not have as much tomorrow. I'm hoping maybe I can knit a little bit. I can knit a little bit on it later. It's already like 8, but after I finish recording, whilst I'm editing. I have knitting plans for this week. I want to cast on a secret sock design. I've mentioned it before. It's the lovely bright yellow and orange yarn from Fernerwolle. I want to do some crochet. A whole while ago, my mom bought me 3 huge cones of the textile yarn, the really bulky yarn, also from Action. And I wanted to make a nice bath mat out of it because the textile yarn works well for that, and I think it will feel really nice on my feet when you get out of the shower or something like that. And I thought I would design my own pattern because what I wanted I couldn't find on Ravelry. I wanted to start with a circle, really dense, not a lot of open work, so that you don't stand, so that your feet don't go in between the holes, because I don't think that would be comfortable. And then I want to shape it into an oval, and then start the open work, a little bit of open work in between around the oval. And then make it a little bigger, some open work, and then square it off into a rectangle. I can find anything like that, and I haven't crocheted in quite a while, and I think I'm starting to forget how it works. I wrote down exactly what I was doing, but my counts kept coming off. So my goal is to do some more crochet and just refresh my memory on how it all works. And I'm going to start with the textile yarn. I'm just not going to do my own design, but I found something on Ravelry that I think I like as well. It's circular, it's huge, it's really nice, except the pattern is by Drops Design, and sometimes those are extremely brief. And if you haven't crocheted in a while, that's a little confusing. It uses charts. I've never used crochet charts, so it's a bit of a challenge, but it's on a big scale. I think the textile yarn will hold up to frogging, so I think I'll be okay. Another goal this week, finish the jumping stones test. It should be 2 or 3 more days, I think. I think I gave them until the 20th. And Serpentine is in testing. I just want to focus on that as well. You don't know upfront how much work it's going to be a test. This test is proving to be, it was a little embarrassing. I had changed something in the pattern for the cuff based on my, because in my sample I have ribbing in the cuff. I can't show it to you, it's in the wash, but I changed that to just being pearls because I couldn't get it to work for all the sizes. And then someone's like, hey, I don't know, but this doesn't match what I'm seeing in your picture. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot to put a note there that was different. And then I really still preferred the ribbing. So, like the horrible designer that I am, I decided to change it back. And the 2 testers that I had at that time had already passed the cuff. I just felt so bad. But thankfully they weren't too upset about it, and I have a personal system. Usually in a test you only get the pattern for free that you actually tested, you get the finished design, and I gift it to you on Ravelry, so it's in your library. But I have started to do that if there's a lot of mistakes in the test and I just feel generally embarrassed about it, then I will offer those testers that have been affected a choice of their free pattern from my Ravelry store. So I've offered that, but I haven't heard back yet on what they want, so I'll have to also reach out to them and ask, like, hey, which one did you want? That's it, actually. I don't really have a lot of goals. I would like to work on my Molly Weasley, because I don't think I have that much left to go on this row. Let me check. And I want to get it to the end of the 7th row. Where is it? Okay, here. 2, 4, 6. I have 9 squares left to go in the 7th row. That should be done relatively quickly. And as you'll see in shopping, I have extra motivation to knit on it now. Also the crochet plans, I just remembered, I forgot to write it down in my show notes. There's a specific something I want to oh no, it's knit. Never mind, I have this pattern in my head that I've been wanting to make for someone for quite a while. And I keep thinking it's crochet because it's a toy, but it's not, it's knit. I looked yesterday. I need to order some things for that. Let me add that to my list. I need to order some of the safety eyes, and I need to order some felt. And then I can whip that up, but I think I also want to get some special yarn for it. It's going to be a special gift, sort of a little cheer up gift. And it's in worsted weight, and I don't have a lot of worsted. I have gajillion amounts of fingering weight, but I don't have any nice worsted. And I'm really thinking I'm kind of thinking that I want it to be a speckle, but I can't find any nice hand-dyed speckle yarns in a worsted weight. The pattern does say that you can go up and down yarn weight, so you could knit a fingering weight, but I don't want it to end up too small. And I could do Aran weight, I think. That might be an idea. I'll have to do some shopping around and see what I end up liking, but I'm going to the yarn store tomorrow, so maybe they might have something perfect. And I'm probably actually going to 2 yarn stores tomorrow, because hey, if I'm going yarn shopping, why not visit both? Because only one of the yarn store carries my favorite needles, and I had a thing that I wanted to buy, but I can't remember now what it was. I think it was a circular needle in the carbons, because I'm using the size I need from my set of symphony needles in another project, and so I figured, I'll get a carbons. I did some shopping. First of all, it's got a little unwound. This pretty thing is spinning fiber. I have 2. They are from Alpha. This is 100% Cardale. Each braid is 150 grams about, and the colorway is Bright Agua. This was a custom order. If you'll remember the Waiting for Rain, that was from the same fiber except different colorway, and my mom really liked that, and I really enjoyed spinning this Cardale. And I figured my favorite color was blue, but she didn't have anything in that color in this fiber in her shop, the lovely Tina. I think I have a card somewhere. Yeah, no. I wanted to show you her card, but I can't find it. Oh, here it is. This is her info. And I contacted Tina and asked, like, hey, could you make me something with these type of blues? And she did very well, because I love it. And one of my problems with the fiber for the Waiting for Rain shawl that my mom now owns is that I hadn't anticipated that it would sort of be like painting, that the colors would mix and make different colors. And these are all more, this is all more the same color, so that I think will be better for me. And then I got some yarn from Wool met Verve. She's a Dutch hand dyer, an indie dyer, and she started doing some new colorways that were selling out really fast, and I could not contain myself. This is Festival on the confetti base, Rocky Mountain on the confetti base, and this is just gorgeous. It's a gray with black flecks and red and orange and purple and a bit of yellow, and there's just a lot of intense colors, and I think this will make a gorgeous pair of socks, but even a shawl could be a very good option. And this is Roadmap, and I saw the picture of this and it really reminded me of a Roadmap. I had to have it, and this, I haven't knit any speckled socks yet, and this looks really fun and nice and bright, so I'm excited to get to work on those. And I also ordered some mini skeins, because I have several of her mini skeins for my blanket, but I noticed that there were some new colors, so I checked which ones I had and which ones I didn't have, and there were 4 I didn't have yet. And there are these. They don't have any names. but I'm very excited to start knitting those into my blanket. This is a nice peachy with some yellow and some pink. This is a white with some blue and the occasional pink flecks. It reminds me a bit of Delft's Blau. This is a blue one with a purple, some bright green, some yellow, and a little bit of brown. And a white with bright blues and bright greens and some bright pinks. And her other minis that I've used, I've knit really fun. I can show you some actually. Let me put that back in the box. This is one of her minis. This is one of her minis. Which else? This one. This is one of my favorites actually. This reminds me a little of the sock yarn that I bought. This one. So I'm hoping that knits up sort of like this because it looks really great. And yeah, that's it for the knitting stuff and the yarny stuff. For daily life, there's not much to mention. If you watched the podcast last week, I mentioned the horrible doctor's visit. Well, it got a little tail. On Monday, I got my blood work back from my doctor. Guess who was right? I was right. My thyroid had slowed down. My medication needed to be upped. We've done that now. I had a good talk with my my regular doctor about what had happened and our experience. And he was like, yeah, well, this is definitely not acceptable. Well, just if there's, because I had also mentioned that because of the way things went, we left with questions. So he talked me through all of my results and answered any questions I still had. And my mom and I sent an email to her endocrinologist, who turned out to be the person guiding my doctor, which was really surprising considering that she knew nothing about thyroid. Well, nothing is a little overstated. I'm still grumpy. She got some things wrong. And this morning, I'm lying. I slept in for a long time. I was really tired today, so I just slept until I felt like a little bit, like I was a little fitter. So then I got up around 3. And I was literally out of bed for 5 minutes and my phone rang and it was the doctor that I'd visited in the hospital, which had gone so poorly. And apparently they had discussed the letter there and she was very shocked. She hadn't realised how we'd felt. And she wanted to apologize, and she really sounded very sincere. She really sounded like she was quite upset, I think, that we had been so upset, which made it feel a lot better for me. That it's nice to get an apology when something goes wrong. And it turns out a lot of it was just miscommunication, but not on my end. I'm sorry. I should be nice, but I'm still a little frustrated with it because on the phone call, we started talking thyroid again, and she just said the same thing she said last time, which is wrong, which is still wrong, which will always be wrong, and but it turns out I think it might be miscommunication because I had said 5 or 6 times during that appointment that I felt better on the medication. She had understood that I didn't feel any better. She knew that there was also a liver value that was wrong, and she said, yeah, that's normal for people that drink alcohol, and we discussed how I don't drink alcohol a lot, if ever. At the time that gather my thoughts. At the time that the blood was drawn, I hadn't had alcohol since New Year's Eve, so that's not a good excuse. Not a good reason for that liver value to be up. But she had meant, oh, that happens a lot. A lot of people have that raised if they drink alcohol. It isn't anything to worry about. She only said a lot of people have that if they drink alcohol. And that doesn't make sense because I didn't know the rest. And I'm thinking that the rest of the discussion about thyroid is just miscommunication. I think she's not saying what she means. How do I explain this properly? Yeah, I can't think of a good example, but like she isn't being complete in what she's saying, I think. And that's why we were misunderstanding each other and getting into a bit of a discussion, and the appointment sort of derailed. But I was a little surprised to get the phone call from her. I don't like calling people on the phone, especially not unexpected, and especially if I think it might be an unpleasant call. And it was a very nice call. It wasn't unpleasant at all in the end, but it could have been, I suppose. But I think we did well in sending that email. We didn't do a formal complaint or anything. We just sent that email to the person guiding her, because she's still learning. She's not done learning yet. And this is part of her learning process. And we figured, yeah, if we don't say anything now, she won't learn what went wrong, because we don't want other people to have the same experience we did. We don't want her to have that experience. It can't be pleasant for her either. So we're hoping now she'll know, well, it might help. And I guess we're not the worst people. We're not gonna hate her forever, even if I'm still frustrated. I don't hate her. She was perfectly nice. We just had a bit of a miscommunication, and therefore the appointment derailed. But in the end, everything is alright now. I'm kind of pleased she called, because it sort of ends the whole thing and allows us to move on. Not that I hadn't moved on otherwise, but you get what I mean, I think. I'm ranting on and on and on, and I'm really not talking about anything that interesting if you're not me. I still love this yarn. Look at it. Pretty pretty. Now that I've ended the show with some pretty yarn, I guess I'm just gonna say goodbye, and I will see you next week. Bye.